Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's Colleen and I'm doing my July wrap-up today. So during the month of July I took part in like 1.5 read-a-thons. I did the Read-Eh-Thon, which I read all Canadian books for, and then I also participated in BookTubeAthon, half of which was in July and half of which was in August. So July was a pretty good reading month for me. I read a total of 14 books, which includes the 3 graphic novels that I read this month, for a total of 4,228 pages and gave an average rating of 4.36. So I read a lot of really fun books this month and I'm very excited to share them all with you. So I'm going to start with the graphic novels because they are the closest to me. The first graphic novel I read in July was Lumerjanes Volume 5, Band Together. This was probably not my favorite one in the series, but I did enjoy it more than the last one. I thought the mer people were really cool. And I liked knowing the backstories more of some of the girls' families, and I rated it 4 out of 5. I read Spell on Wheels Volume 1 by Kate Leth, Megan Levins, and Marissa Lewis, and I really loved this. I thought it was really fun. The art in it is really great, very colorful. It reminded me a lot of Scooby-Doo but witches, and I rated it 5 out of 5. And then the final graphic novel that I read this month was Miss Marvel Volume 1, No Normal by Wilson, Alfona, and Herring. I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite graphic novel that I've ever read. I rated it a 4 out of 5. I am going to continue on in this series, but yeah, I didn't like it as much as Wonder Woman. That's about that. But let's get into the books. So the first book that I read in July was Mark Sakamoto's Forgiveness, A Gift from My Grandparents. This is a autobiographical story, and it was really sweet, it was really lovely, and I really enjoyed it. I rated it 5 out of 5. Then I read Fifth Business by Robertson Davies, another Canadian author. I rated this also 5 out of 5. I thought it was a really awesome story, and I'm very excited to continue on in the series. It's a trilogy, so hopefully I'll get to that soon. But yeah, it was just... the characters were excellent, and I understand why my cousin really loves it. And then, to finish off the Read-A-Thon, I started, but did not finish during that time period, Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood. I liked this a lot. I think it's a lot different than Atwood's other 2 books that I've read, which is Handmaid's Tale and Alias Grace. It's still dystopian. So if that's not your jam, not for you. This might not be for you, but it was very cool, and I think I rated it 4 out of 5. If not, it was like bordering on 5 out of 5. And that's another trilogy that I'm hoping to finish this year. Then I moved on to Trickster's Choice by Tamora Pierce. I loved this book so much. It was excellent. I rated it 5 out of 5. This, I think, is my second favorite series in Tortall, so I was really glad to return to this. That was that. And then I couldn't not pick up Trickster's Queen, which is the sequel and the last book in the duology. I enjoyed the politics in this book, but didn't enjoy it quite as much plot-wise as the first book. I used to love Naywait. He was like my man. But there were some things in this book that made me like him perhaps a little bit less. But it happens. Then I read China Rich Girlfriend by Kwan, because Crazy Rich Asians was coming out in theaters, and I just wanted to make sure that I read the whole entire trilogy before I went to see it, just in case. Though it does look like it's only the first book. I hope to go see it soon. It just came out, so when I was filming this. I really enjoyed this. I rated it 4 out of 5. It was fun, and it was more of a continuation of the same story that we started in the first, so that was a time. Then I read The Dragon Reborn by Robert Jordan. This is the 3rd book in the Wheel of Time series. As you can see, it's a little bit of a chunker. I really enjoyed it. I liked it more than The Great Hunt, but not as much as The Eye of the World. I rated it 4 out of 5. I like that the plot didn't focus on Rand. He's been a little bit whiny. Ooh. Male protagonist being whiny. Who knew? You know, it is what it is. It was a really excellent read. It was super quick. the stuff that happened in the book was really cool. So if you've started, you know, The Great Hunt and you're like, I don't know, definitely read this, because keep on going, because this was really good. It was a lot more like The Eye of the World than The Great Hunt, and it's a great series, so I'm making my way through it. Then I read 2 books from a trilogy that I hope to finish in August. The first one was Westmark by Lloyd Alexander, and then the second one was The Kestrel, also by Lloyd Alexander. And this is a series that's hard to find. It's out of print, which makes me infinitely sad. Lloyd Alexander is an excellent author. It's middle grade, so, you know. It's about an apprentice printer who prints some material that the government doesn't like, and then he's running from the law and he meets some interesting and peculiar people, and yeah. And the second one, there's a war. This is mostly war. So that's that. We're moving on now. They were both good. I rated them, I think, 3 or 4 out of 5. They're good. I'm excited to read The Beggar Queen, which is the last one, because I think that's going to be really interesting. So then we moved into BookTubeAthon. I will leave a link to the vlogs that I did for it down below in case you want to see how I did and what I did during that week. But the first book I read was All Be Gone in the Dark, One Woman's Obsessive Search for the Golden State Killer by Michelle McNamara. This was really interesting. I did enjoy reading it. It was very reminiscent of The Stranger Beside Me for a lot of it, but there wasn't quite that personal connection, of course. Yeah, I found that the parts about her were better than the parts about the Golden State Killer, and I rated it 4 out of 5. That's all I'm going to say about that. And the last book that I read was The Lost Books of the Odyssey by Zachary Mason. This was a really fun book to read, especially if you love the Odyssey as I do. It was just a lot of different short stories about how things could have been different. A lot of them were really good, some of them not so good. I have my favorites, of course, but yeah. Enjoyed this, rated 4 out of 5. So those were the 14 books that I read in the month of July. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe to my channel. Soon I'll do a July book haul and a July favorites. Both of those will be on the skinnier side, I think. I didn't do that much in July purchasing wise, but they'll be out soon. And until then, we'll see you in my next video.